How's it going, everybody? My name is Alec Rosales. I know in the forum post that y'all been seeing all semester long, it's going to say Ignacio. That's me. I am Cuban, and my birth name is Ignacio. I don't know how to change that. I've been trying to do it all semester long, but my name is Alex. That's the first time y'all getting to see my face. But this is the time where I get to explain to y'all my sociological issues topic that I talked about. Just bear with me. I'm going to do this one time through. I'm a human. I'm going to make mistakes. I might slip up on a few words here and there. But just want to talk to you about what I chose and why I chose that side. So, if there are a few of y'all who did this topic as well, I wouldn't be surprised because it's one of the most trending topics today in all of sports and on top of that, in general. So, with that being said, the topic I chose was NIL deals in high school and collegiate sports. If you don't know what that is, NIL is name, image, and likeness. And it allows these collegiate athletes and few high school athletes to get paid for basically who they are and what they bring to their athletics and outside of athletics. For the most part, I believe most of y'all would know this because we are in a kinesiology class. I know it kind of branches off, but I'm in the sports management side. So I know that some of y'all focus on sports, some of y'all just focus on like the human body, how it works, but just a little breakdown of what it is if you didn't know what it was before. Like I said before, NIL is one of the biggest, most trending subjects in all of the sports world currently today. Just to get started, I'm going to say I'm all for it. I believe that it is one of the greatest things to have ever been brought up in all of athletics whatsoever. It was passed on July 1st of 2021, where athletes were able to get paid for like their name, like image and likeness, and also the more play time you got and the better you performed on the field, boosts up your numbers because you boost up your popularity, and they're going to pay you more for it. Reason number one of why I believe it is absolutely the greatest thing that was brought up into college athletics is because for the longest time, before that day in 2021, the only people you ever heard of getting paid playing in athletics was people that made it all the way up to the pros. I did a study. I got my notes on here on the side to show me what breakdown of the statistics of what it all came down to. When it comes to high school people going into collegiate athletics, it is only 7% of the high school athletes that go on to play collegiately. That's already a small number to begin with. Then to bump it up, of those 7%, only 2% of the athletes go on to play professionally. So to already take that 7% and to then break it down to another 2% to divide it already, that number is astronomically small. So for the people that make it all the way to get professionally, props to them. You deserve it, and you will get paid for it. However, a lot of people had issues with it and believe that people that don't go all the way to make it professionally should have the opportunity to make money on its own. And I'm one of those people that believe that if you are good enough in your field and you are bringing attention to the sports world itself, then absolutely you should get rewarded for it. There are going to be people, that's why I chose this subject that's controversial. There are going to be people that are going to oppose it, be like, no, it needs to stay only to professionals. They deserve it, yada, 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 all that good stuff. I'm going to give you a few reasons of why I believe, as a college graduate, all of us here are, that's why we're in the master's program, of why I believe the passing of the NIL, a few reasons of why it also comes beneficial to not only getting paid before then, but it got brought up about, it got passed on July 1st, 2021. But prior to that, they had a man named O'Bannon. He was a college basketball player for UCLA back in the day. And he was just sitting at home one day, just minding his own business. And he came about to see that these NCAA video games, for those of you who are video game players like myself, I love playing Madden, 2K, college football, NCAA football. They used to have, back in the early 2000s, an NCAA basketball video game. And he began to notice, as so many others, that they were creating this game without them getting paid for it, which legally at the time it was okay, but morally that's wrong. They're getting paid off of these guys' NIL, name, image, and likeness, without them getting paid for it, which is wrong in so many ways. So he brought up a case, brought it to the NCAA, and said, hey, look, this isn't right. Y'all are making y'all are making money off of who I am, and I'm getting nothing on it, as well as every single one of these athletes as well. So he brought that up, went on for about a good month or so until it finally got passed, and it just got put into place. Obviously, early on, between 2021, 22, and 23, they were working out a few kinks here and there of how to get all of this established, all of this working in the right direction to where it can get into full force, which where it is today. With that being said, they came from some pros and they came from some cons of that case. However, just to clarify, that NIL thing got passed in 2021. This case with O'Bannon was passed in 2014, just to separate those two topics. With that being said, another important date in 2014, as a video game player myself, our beloved NCAA video game of football was removed off the shelves and taken off altogether because Electronic Arts didn't want to get into any legal trouble with any of the video games being placed out and showing that they're advertising and pushing a game that was very much shunned in the sporting world. With that being said, I did a little bit of research on that, and to kind of put it into our field, everybody's saying the NIL only affects these programs and these athletes. Well, it kind of also affected the everyday person, kind of like me and y'all, that it showed that I think it was $1.2 billion that were earned from when the video game was created in 1993 all the way up to 2013, the year before they stopped making it. People were mad. They lost so much money with them removing it. Fast forward a little bit, 11 years later, they came out with the game NCAA Football 25 this past summer. In the first 2 weeks alone of that game being released, there was $500 million in sales. That's half in just that first 2 weeks of what it made in a 20-year period. So that just shows that not only what I'm saying, but statistically, the average fan itself is all for this NIL deal. A few more things that I just wanted to cover as I look here through my notes of the things I wanted to talk about is one thing for me, as y'all can agree with it, college degree is going to lead you in the right direction of where you got to get to in life. With that being said, with the passing of the NIL deal, so many more college athletes have graduated college. And what I mean by that is because these guys are getting smoke blown up them all their lives saying, you're the greatest athlete, you're the greatest, you're going to go far, you're going to go far. And they start to believe it. And they've created rules where in the pros where you have to go to at least 1 year of college before you can enter a draft, whether it's the NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB, all that stuff. Well, these guys are going into college knowing that they're going to go one and done and out of there. Well, with the passing of the NIL, they can get paid while they're in college rather than having to wait to go to the pros. What they did prior to 2021 is they go to 1 year college, get out of there, go to the pros, get all their money, and they don't even think about college after that. So it kind of affects us as fans is like, how can we start rooting for these guys? How can we start like building a relationship in our household of these players that we watch on TV if we blink and they're already gone and moved on to the pros? Perfect example of that, Zion Williamson. I'm a Pelicans fan. That dude has projected greatness, but that dude can't stay healthy and can't get on the court. That being said, he went to Duke his freshman year of college. They didn't win the Natty, but that dude showed up and showed out, which he was rewarded with the number 1 overall draft pick by the New Orleans Pelicans. That being said, this was before the NIL deal was passed. He went there, one and done, wasn't paid at the time, went on to the draft. If this was times were different and he waited a little bit after that, who knows what would have happened? He might have stayed the full 4 years. I don't know about him, but statistically, everybody else that's gone to college and was paid with NIL money has stayed the full 4 years for that school. Perfect example, Caitlin Clark. She's probably the greatest women's basketball player in college basketball history. And she's already made her name in the WNBA as she won Rookie of the Year. She stayed at Iowa her full 4 years. There was no reason for her to jump up into the WNBA at the time because of the fact that of all the money that she earned in NIL. Granted, I know the WNBA doesn't get paid as much as the NBA, but it's a whole different story for a whole nother time. I disagree with it. I feel like they work just as hard, but that's a different story for a different time. Other than that, it just, like, the proof is in the pudding. She stayed there for her full 4 years, played out, graduated. I think she's even going for a master's degree now that I'm pretty sure that I saw. But it's just better for college as a whole, even when it comes to the recruiting process. It's not basically selling them like, hey, we've got this on campus, we got this on campus. It's how much money can you give me now? It's kind of like an NFL or NBA free agency type of thing of how much money can you offer me because this school's offering me this and this school's offering me this. And if you want me to come here, you got to offer me this. So it's kind of like not only like a little bit of a game of chess rather than checkers. It forces these athletes to kind of look into where they're going to get paid more and also the programs and the universities itself where they dish out their money. Last but not least, the good thing about the NIL is that I talked about a lot about basketball, NFL. With NIL, every single sports team on campus is allowed the same amount of money. So I know I talked a few about these sports over here and there, but the thing about that is that women's gymnastics, women's soccer, men's baseball, every single sports on campus is given the same amount of money to distribute with NIL. And the thing is that some teams use that and ran with it. Not dogging on women's gymnastics whatsoever. I think it's awesome. But prior to the NIL deal getting passed in 2021, we really didn't hear too much about it. Like, yeah, we'd see who won the national championship. We might get a few things on ESPN here and there. But nowadays, props to Livy Dunn and what she's done with LSU. But she's been like an idol for all these women growing up that are in gymnastics and women that are in sports that they basically could do anything that they set their mind to. But with what she's done, she's basically flipped the script of gymnastics and women's sports as a whole of bringing you attention that she's a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model now. She's this, she's that. And there's so many more athletes. She's just the first one that came to mind. But it beneficially affects every single sport on campus. And I feel like it's just created a change for the better going forward. If you have any other questions, I feel like I explained myself well enough on this topic of why I think NIL is a great thing when it comes to the video games, the numbers, the statistics, how widespread it is in the sporting world. And if anything, the recruiting process. I went through it. I was a college athlete myself. I graduated the year before NIL came out, and I think it would have helped out a lot more after that. But in my opinion, I know a lot of people might oppose me, but hopefully y'all got a clear message of why I believe what I believe. And if you got any questions going forward, just text me, and I feel like I can answer it because I've done enough research to be able to feel like I could fight my argument. Other than that, good luck to y'all on y'all's finals, and if you need anything, just give me a holler. See ya.